In our birth chart, Chiron represents the wounds that we heal in others and yet do not heal within ourselves. And so it really represents this story around our worthiness. But what exactly it is you heal in others is all dependent on the sign your Chiron is in. So in this video, I want to give you your complete rundown into what it means to have your Chiron in the sign of Taurus in your chart so you can heal your unworthiness wounds and become unlimited. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabella, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about what it means to have your Chiron in the sign of Taurus in your chart. In today's video specifically, I'm going to cover an overview of what Chiron is, what the Taurus archetype is all about, what it means to have your Chiron in the sign of Taurus in your chart, what it means to have Chiron in the sign of Taurus throughout each house in your chart, and practical tips for applying this knowledge. So if you're someone who not only likes to take in the knowledge of astrology, but also know what to do with it, watch through to the end of this video where I'm going to share some of my top tips for applying this information. And before I dive into today's video any further, be sure to book a reading in the link in the description below, where in 1 hour we can dive deep into any and everything about your chart, including your Chiron and where it may be limiting you unconsciously. So if you want to dive deep into your chart, if you want to go into transits, love astrology, career astrology, and not just your astrology, but your complete personality, so your Enneagram, your Myers-Briggs, your numerology, and more, these readings are for you. Sky is the limit. Learn more down below. So to start off this video, I'm going to bring back an old video where I give you guys your introduction to what Chiron is, and then we'll come back to present day filming to talk about what it means to have Chiron specifically in Taurus, as well as what the Taurus archetype is all about. So first and foremost, what is Chiron? Chiron is not a planet, it is an asteroid that we can find in our birth chart. And it'll look like a circle with a K on it, or how I see it, it's a key, which is the key to healing. Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And what it represents, simply put, is the wounds that we heal in others, but don't heal in ourselves. You can imagine with the story of Chiron, this idea of almost a medic on a battlefield who is going around tending to others' wounds, while they're at the same time have their own wounds that are causing them to bleed out, but they're not taking care of it. And so whatever sign Chiron is in our chart represents that wound we go about healing in others and tending to, but we are not healing within ourselves. The sign that your Chiron is in specifically tells you what archetype you have wounds associated with. So for example, if someone's Chiron was in Cancer, maybe they feel wounds associated with being nurtured. However, they seem to be the most nurturing people you know. So Chiron, at its root in many ways, this idea of having this wound that we heal in others but not ourselves has a lot to do with worthiness. It tells us what we feel we are unworthy of giving ourselves, and yet at the same time we tell everyone else that they are worthy of. So working through your Chiron, understanding the sign your Chiron is in, as well as the house, tells you what the wounds are that you heal in others but not in yourself, and can also tell you what worthiness blockages may keep you limited. By not healing your Chiron, this could play out as feeling an emotional sense of woundedness. This could cause projecting our emotions onto others. This can cause us, simply put, because we're not feeling worthy, to become a blocker for our manifestations. So if you feel like there's certain manifestations that you've been working towards that haven't been coming through, it is possible it's because your Chiron wound that is causing unworthiness has not been fully healed. But given that it is something we heal in others, in many ways, Chiron can be a gift to the world. It is something that you can help others heal, truly. But we can only do so and truly do our best healing work when, of course, we heal that within ourselves. After all, a medic bleeding out on the battlefield trying to tend to others' wounds is eventually going to find that they have to take care of themselves in order to continue to heal others. So what is Taurus? And I want to recap always the archetype that each of these planets and points is in before we go into the specific placement to really remember the root of the energy. And this helps us avoid any sort of stereotypes or not so resonating interpretations. Taurus, in the end, as the second sign of the zodiac wheel, is, as I always picture, the slowdown process. We imagine Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and charging life head on, right? And Taurus is a bull, as opposed to a ram. There's still a similar theme of charging things head on, but the bull instead knows when to charge rather than charging out of, so to say, competition. There's more of a stubbornness to the bull. It's like how people say being stubborn, likable, or at least in my family, I hear that often. So Taurus is the archetype of comfort, indulgence, and security. Their whole goal is to be comfortable. As Kabbalistic astrology describes, it's the bull in the bubble. And so these are very persistent people, stubborn people who are comfort-oriented and material-oriented, who want to stay within their bubble of comfort. This is why oftentimes Taurus is known for being so stubborn, because they want to stay in their ways so that they can remain in their bubble of harmony. And that comes back to the fact that they are ruled by Venus. And so being ruled by Venus gives them that priority on comfort, indulgence, and harmony. So Taurus as an archetype, yes, is stubborn, yes, persistent, but in the end, the main theme I think for Taurus is all about comfort and indulgence. Comfort and indulgence and security. They're looking for things that are practical, real, and stable. The actual prairie in which this bull can ground into, the ground beneath their feet, the grass that they get to indulge upon. So the Taurus is, in the end, bull in the bubble, persistent, grounded, stable, indulgent, focused, comfort-oriented. In the negative, they can be very stubborn. They can be very stuck in their ways. They can be the type who doesn't want to be pushed around in a negative, so to say. But in the positive, these are people who know what exactly it is that they need to indulge. They're very connected to the five senses, and they can be very, very strongly grounded into themselves. So self-worth is a concept that also comes along with the Taurus archetype. Now, what does it exactly mean to have Chiron here in the sign of Taurus, this bull in the bubble? With Chiron, the wounded healer asteroid in the sign of Taurus, this indicates that there is a wound for you around your ability to give yourself comfort and indulgence, as well as security. Again, Chiron being this wounded healer, this is something though that you heal in other people. So this is probably the kind of person I would guess who goes around telling others that they deserve comfort, that they deserve indulgence, that they should connect to the five senses, that they shouldn't be so hard on themselves, that they should just be present. But for them, that may be a completely different story. For a Chiron in Taurus, while they think everyone should enjoy the comforts of the material world and indulge in their present moment, for them to allow themselves to do so is extremely hard. And they, in a way, feel very unworthy of allowing themselves comfort and ease. And so they may feel that they have to, on the other hand, challenge themselves constantly, or that they shouldn't be happy in the present moment, or that they shouldn't settle, so to say. Think again of that Taurus, rooted, grounded bull, just happy in their little bubble. They could care less what's going on in the outside world or what better options there are, as long as they're satisfied where they are. So there's almost this idea of contentment that comes along with being a Chiron in Taurus that can be hard to navigate. Feeling like you are settling could be something that you are afraid of, and you feel like you're supposed to want more out of life. I think it's helpful to tie in the fact that Taurus is the first earth sign of the zodiac, and how this is contrasting in comparison to maybe a sign like Capricorn. Both of these are earth signs. They both have to do with material reality, whether that's material finances, material comforts such as a plush bed, material food, material experiences, material objects that give us a positive experience. And Capricorn's role is, to expand that. It's the final earth sign. So it's, what can we reach? Can we get the Lamborghini, the $1 million home? Can we reach new heights with this? Whereas Taurus is new to the world, like a toddler, only the second sign of the zodiac. And so they have this more childish interpretation of materialism and seeing that the littlest things can bring them satisfaction. And so hence why Taurus is so connected to the five senses. And when we talk about Taurus, we usually think of simpler things and simple comforts and creature comforts. And so this whole idea of simplicity for a Chiron in Taurus can be extremely challenging. They feel that others deserve simplicity in their lives. They deserve security. They deserve to just enjoy the little things. But to a Chiron in Taurus, they feel as this is a concept they cannot embrace fully. They may feel like they have to overcomplicate their lives, or that they can't have stability out of fear that if they just give themselves this satisfying bubble for their bull to be in, that it's going to shrink them, or that they're going to be judged for being in this satisfying little bubble. They feel as if they have to expand their bubble, pop their bubble, get out of their comfort zone, and that simplicity is overrated overall. So that is with Chiron in Taurus in the sign just. And hopefully I didn't miss anything on that. There's so much more philosophy we can go into that, but with the key takeaway simply put as the summary just for the sign, Chiron in Taurus feels unworthiness and wounds regarding security, comfort, indulgence, and simplicity in a certain area of life. And again, this is going to depend on what exactly the house it's in as well, because Taurus energy can play out in so many different ways. So now let's go into what it means as a brief one sentence overview of Chiron in Taurus through the houses. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in first house, you're afraid of appearing like someone who is comfort focused, indulgent focused, too simplistic, or too materialistic. But at the same time, you can help people heal the same very wounds around being strong in your self-worth, being comfort focused, being indulgent focused. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in second house, you feel this sense of woundedness around having stable finances and stable self-worth potentially. Feeling like everyone else deserves to have a sense of indulgence in their finances and spend in comfortable ways and have a strong sense of self-worth. But for you to have that grounded sense of self-worth and grounded finances to allow yourself to enjoy comforts is extremely hard. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in third house, you maybe feel that you are not allowed to be grounded in your words, in the sense of feeling strong in your self-worth, in owning what it is you say, and also feeling comfortable in your daily network, feeling like you are this indulgent person within your daily network may be a challenging concept for you, and yet one that you encourage in others. It's all about your words and feeling this sense of Taurus energy, grounded, stubborn persistence in your words. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in fourth house, you probably feel like you cannot be comfort-oriented, indulgent, or even grounded in your home. But yet at the same time, you encourage other people to have physical and emotional groundedness within their home. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in fifth house, you probably feel like you are not allowed to have a comfortable sense of pleasure, meaning you're not allowed to pursue fun and enjoyment in grounded, stable ways, and that fun is overrated. And yet at the same time, you will go around telling other people that fun is needed for your well-being, that you should enjoy the simple pleasures and the simple things and prioritize daily indulgence. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in sixth house, you probably feel a sense of woundedness around your routines and how much comfort you allow yourself within your routines and how much comfort you allow yourself within your schedules and how much groundedness you feel through your daily schedules. You probably feel like schedules and routine and health habits are overrated, and yet this is something you encourage others to have, to ground into their routines, to indulge in their daily life. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in seventh house, you feel a sense of woundedness around seeking comfort, indulgence, and stability within your relationships, and yet this is something that you encourage other people should have in their relationships. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in eighth house, you probably feel a sense of woundedness around seeking comfort in your closest intimate relationships. When you start to share lives, share finances, share physically, share emotionally, you want to be allowed to be comfortable, but yet you feel the sense of woundedness that you can't. And also this is something that at the same time you encourage other people to have. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in ninth house, you probably feel a sense of woundedness around having groundedness in your personal beliefs and ideologies and potentially seeking comfort through travels and big experiences. You're probably fear-mongered away from traveling in some way, or that exploring the world is unnecessary. And yet you encourage other people to go out there, see the world, have new experiences, develop your personal beliefs and ground into them. Seek indulgence in your travels, seek indulgence by exploring the world and ground into your personal beliefs. But this is something for you yourself is hard to do. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in 10th house, you feel a sense of woundedness about getting recognition in your career as someone who is grounded, persistent, stable, stubborn, and indulgent. You are, in a sense, afraid of being seen or feel a sense of unworthiness of being seen as someone who is comfort-oriented in their career and someone who is very persistent. And yet at the same time, you go around encouraging this in other people to let themselves be seen as someone who's grounded, stable, persistent, and maybe a bit comfort-oriented. If your Chiron is in Taurus and in your 11th house, you feel a sense of woundedness around being portrayed as someone who is comfort-oriented in their community or a sense of persistence about your purpose. Again, a few different interpretations here. The 11th house is the house of purpose and also the house of community. So with this being Taurus energy, you may feel a sense of fear of wanting to, or woundedness around wanting a sense of stability through your community and finding a sense of stability through your purpose, through aspiring, through going for something bigger, for trying to make a change in humanity. You find a sense of groundedness in that. But yet at the same time, you feel as though you should not and you feel unworthy of this. And so you encourage other people to cultivate groundedness, stability, and enjoy the connections of their community and to find a sense of groundedness by finding their purpose, but you feel this is something you cannot embrace. If your Chiron finally is in Taurus and in 12th house, you feel this sense of woundedness around your ability to be comfortable on your own. This is, in a way, probably someone who was very fine with solitude at a young age, found it very comfortable to be alone, enjoys introspective work, and finds that they feel more grounded in themselves, in their sense of self, when they do inner work, introspection, meditation, learning about themselves, developing themselves. But you feel this is something you shouldn't embrace, similar to Lilith in 12th house and Taurus themes. But this is something you heal in others. You encourage other people to spend time in solitude, to make comfort in their lives in solitude, and to ground into stronger senses of self-worth through inner work and by enjoying their time alone. But you yourself feels this is something you can't embrace. So with all that being said, what do you do with this information now that you know what it means to have a Chiron in Taurus and also a little bit about what house it's in? And with that in mind, quick note, if you guys want me to do a video diving deeper into any of these specific placements, such as Chiron in Taurus and 11th house, let me know in the comments below and I can film a video about that specific chart aspect. But the first thing that I would do, understanding this information, taking in this information and applying it to your life, is first to remember that Chiron is a wound within us, but something we heal in others. And to follow on the analogy that we talk about with this wounded healer on a battlefield healing others, but bleeding out themselves, is this idea that you can only do so much until you heal yourself. You can only heal so many other people until you eventually, if you don't take care of yourself, have no more to give. It hurts your own ability to give if you are not healing yourself. And so what does the healing yourself process look like? Well, one, starting off with the awareness with what this wound is, identifying how this resonates for you. Because again, there's so many different traits of Taurus, not necessarily all of them are going to resonate. How do you feel this shows up in your life? How do you feel this sense of woundedness around these traits? And that could mean feeling like you can't embrace it, feeling a sense of guilt when you embrace it, feeling like you're unable to tap into this energy. I know that's a big one for me, is this idea of I don't even know what this vibration feels like in the positive. Experimenting with where that feeling of woundedness lies. Is it an inability to do something? Is it a sense of guilt or shame when you do it? Is it a sense of anger when other people do it? Is it envy? Is it feeling like you don't even know and that you're clueless? Identifying that feeling. And then from there, asking yourself, based off of the house it's in, how and where can I start embracing this in the positive? Meaning that, let's say your Chiron's in Taurus in 7th house. How can I promote more comfort and indulgence in my one-on-one interactions? Would that be going to get coffee with a friend and really just letting myself spend $8 on a latte? Would it be enjoying a simple night in with my partner? What does that energy mean to you? And what does it mean to embrace that? And then also, this is the wounded healer. So how do you see these traits in other people? How do you see wounds for this in other people? And what do you wish you could heal in them? Starting off in a way with the proactive approach of how can I heal this in others can help us understand what we need to heal in ourselves next. And I know that is for me as a Chiron in Capricorn. I'm always telling all my friends and people I love, you can make so much money. You have no idea how much money you can make. It's in my 2nd house, by the way. But for me to embrace that is much harder. But seeing the wounds in others around money helps me understand my own, which then helps me heal, which then helps me heal others as well. So hopefully these tips help. Let me know in the comments below what else you would add. Did this video resonate for you on Chiron in Taurus? Let me know your thoughts down below and let me know what other questions you have and what you want to hear about next on the channel, because I appreciate your guys' feedback so much. There's so many ridiculous amount of different placements, transits and other personality things to talk about that it just gets overwhelming. So let me know what you want to hear about next in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and more. If you want to learn more about Chiron, check out my Chiron playlist that I'm currently building out. And if you want to learn more about how this Chiron in Taurus is specifically affecting you, book a reading down below where in 1 hour we can dive deep into any and everything about your chart, including your Chiron wounds and how they affect the rest of your chart and how you can overcome these. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sincerely hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name is Isabel. From my heart to yours, namaste.